Hey everyone, if you're watching this, hit that like button and subscribe because what I'm about to confess has been eating me alive since my wife left for her 2-week business trip. I was stuck in our quiet suburban house, handling the same lonely evenings after work, scrolling through my phone while the empty bed reminded me how much I missed real connection. My wife's best friend, Sarah, texted out of nowhere asking if she could crash at our place for a few days because her apartment was being fumigated. I said yes without thinking twice. The first night she arrived with her suitcase, wearing casual sweats, her familiar vanilla and jasmine scent drifting through the hallway as she hugged me hello. I felt a small spark I immediately pushed down. This is my wife's best friend. She's just here temporarily. Don't be weird. We ordered takeout and chatted about her recent breakup. Nothing flirty, just two people filling the silence. Her laugh came easy, soft like it belonged in the room already. I kept my distance on the couch, but the air between us felt closer than it should. The next morning I woke up to the sound of her humming an old indie song we all used to listen to in college while making coffee. The soft texture of her oversized sweater brushing my arm as she reached past me for a mug sent an unexpected warmth through me. For the first time I noticed the curve of her hips and the way her laugh filled the empty kitchen. It's just loneliness talking. My wife trusts me. This is nothing, but when she turned, her eyes caught mine for a second longer than necessary, and something in my chest tightened. Like gravity pulling me toward a place I had no business going, I told myself it was innocent, just helping a friend. Yet that evening, as we sat at the table sharing leftover takeout, her knee accidentally brushed mine under the wood. Neither of us moved. The warmth lingered, seeping through fabric, making my pulse stumble. She was talking about how empty her days felt lately, voice low, almost confiding, and I caught myself leaning in, breathing in that vanilla jasmine scent that wrapped around me like a secret. Stop. She's off limits. She's your wife's best friend, but the house felt different with her in it. Quieter in the wrong way, yet charged. Every small sound, her bare feet on the floor, the rustle of her sweater when she shifted, pulled my attention. I found myself watching the way light caught in her hair when she tilted her head, listening. How aware I was becoming, how the ache of missing my wife started twisting into something else, something hungrier, something I couldn't name without feeling ashamed. Later that night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the guest room door just down the hall. I could hear her moving around softly, probably unpacking. The thought of her so close in my house, wearing those loose clothes that still somehow traced her shape, it made sleep impossible. What if she felt the same quiet pull? No, don't even think it. But the warmth from that brief brush of her arm earlier wouldn't leave my skin. It stayed like a brand, faint but burning. By the end of that first full day, I was already questioning every glance, every casual word. The way she said goodnight, voice soft in the dim hallway light, her eyes meeting mine. It wasn't anything. It was everything I shouldn't want. I closed my door, heart beating too loud in the silence, wondering how long I could pretend this was still harmless, before the almost moment started feeling inevitable. The evening settled into something dangerously familiar. Sarah would settle on the living room couch with her laptop, wearing those loose tank tops that slipped just enough to catch the lamplight on her shoulder. I'd sit across from her pretending to scroll through my phone, but my eyes kept drifting. It made my pulse stutter every single time. God, I shouldn't be noticing this. She's my wife's best friend. She's only here because her place needed fumigating. This house already feels too small, the air between us thick with something I can't name without shame burning in my throat. I kept telling myself it was nothing. Just the quiet of the house playing tricks after my wife left for her trip. But every night the routine pulled me in deeper. She'd stretch a little while typing, the fabric shifting against her skin, and I'd feel heat rise under my collar like a warning I refused to heed. One evening the wine came out after dinner. We were both tired, both a little lonely in our own ways. She poured another glass and her voice dropped, soft and honest. It's nice having someone here who actually listens. You know? The words hung there, wrapping around us like the vanilla and jasmine scent that always followed her. I nodded, swallowing hard. The red wine mixed with that warm sweetness in the air, making everything feel heavier, closer. Light teasing slipped in next. She tilted her head, smiling in that way that crinkled her eyes. You look good for someone surviving alone these days. My chest tightened. Just friendly talk, right? Stop reading into every syllable. But what if the loneliness in her tone matched the ache it'd been carrying? What if she felt the same quiet gravity pulling us nearer? The house had started humming with this unspoken charge. Every room seemed smaller when she moved through it. I caught myself lingering in doorways, listening to the faint sound of her breathing from the next room, wondering if she lay awake too, aware of the same invisible thread tightening between us. Then came the movie night on the couch. We'd chosen something light to kill the quiet. Halfway through, her leg brushed mine under the blanket. She didn't pull away. Neither did I. The warmth of her skin seeped through the thin fabric, slow and insistent, like a secret neither of us wanted to admit. My breath caught. It's innocent, accidental. My wife is gone for work. Not gone forever. I can handle a little contact like this. Can't I? Later. When she reached for the remote, her fingers grazed the back of my hand. They lingered, just a second too long. The heat from that brief touch traveled up my arm and settled somewhere deep, addictive in its gentleness. I didn't move, couldn't. The movie played on, but all I felt was the soft pressure of her beside me, the way her breathing had shifted, shallower now. This is just two people keeping each other company, nothing more. Chess off limits in every way that matters. Yet the craving bloomed anyway, calm and treacherous, like a storm gathering behind my ribs. I kept stealing glances at the way the lamplight caught in her hair when she laughed at the screen. Her shoulder so close I could almost feel the heat radiating from it, the scent of vanilla wrapping around me again, mixed with the faint trace of wine on her breath. Stop. You're imagining things that aren't there, but the almost touch of her leg still burned against mine. The memory of her fingers on my hand refused to fade. The air in the room had grown thick, electric. Every small shift of her body sent another ripple through me. I wondered if she could hear how loudly my heart was hammering, if she felt the same pull that made the space between us feel alive and dangerous. What if this wasn't one-sided? What if the way she looked at me sometimes carried the same hidden hunger? I pushed the thought down hard, but it kept rising, stubborn and sweet. The warmth from her skin had branded itself into my memory now. Innocent or not, it was becoming impossible to ignore. And then, as the credits began to roll, her eyes met mine in the dim light. Something unspoken passed between us, a question either of us dared voice. My throat went dry, the pull felt stronger than ever, gravity dragging me toward an edge I knew I shouldn't approach. How much longer could I pretend my pulse was racing for reasons I couldn't confess? Even to myself? By the end of the first week the house had settled into a rhythm that felt too comfortable to alive. I found myself glancing at the clock, counting the minutes until I heard her key turn in the lock after her quick errands. My pulse would quicken at the sound. Shoulders brushing whenever one of us reached for a knife or stirred the pot. The space was never meant for two bodies moving at once, yet neither of us suggested moving apart. Her cotton shirt, soft from so many washes, grazed my arm each time she leaned past me for the salt. The faint warmth of her skin underneath seeped through the fabric, steady and impossible to ignore. One evening she laughed at something silly I said about the sauce, then lifted her thumb to wipe a tiny smear from my cheek. The touch lingered a second longer than it needed to. Heat bloomed where her skin met mine, spreading slow like spilled honey. I froze, breath caught somewhere between my ribs. Just a friendly gesture, I told myself. Temporary relief from the emptiness that had been swallowing the room since my wife left. No one has to know about this small comfort I was letting myself lean into. The storm rolled in late one night, thunder cracking so loud the lights flickered and died. We ended up on the couch under one thick blanket, the only source of warmth in the sudden dark. Rain hammered the windows like it was trying to get inside. Her head found my shoulder naturally, as if the weight of the day had finally pulled her there. I didn't move away, couldn't. The scent of vanilla and something softer, like jasmine after rain, wrapped around me again, closer now. Her hand shifted under the blanket, tracing slow lines across my chest through my shirt. Each pass sent tiny sparks racing under my skin. I turned my head and our eyes locked in the dim flashes of lightning. The hesitation that had been building for days shattered when she whispered, voice barely louder than the rain, I've been thinking about this too. My mind split right there. This crosses every line. Shess, my wife's best friend, sleeping under our roof because we thought it was harmless. Just once, I thought, to feel alive again in all this quiet loneliness. Just once, and then we stop. We gave in completely that night, the storm swallowing every sound between us. Her closeness overwhelmed every rational thought I had left, the way her breath trembled against my neck, the heat of her body pulling me under like warm water. Nothing felt real except the pull between us, gravity too strong to fight anymore. The next few days blurred into stolen moments whenever the house was empty of anyone else. A lingering look in the hallway that turned into hands finding each other. A quick brush of fingers while passing in the kitchen that left me breathless for minutes after. What started as something that should never have happened became a daily release we both reached for, framed in whispers as our secret arrangement while my wife was still away on her trip. I kept telling myself it was only temporary. This is wrong, but it feels too good to quit right now. The guilt sat heavy in my chest every morning, yet the hunger always won by evening. One afternoon, she caught my eye across the room while the rain still pattered softly outside. Her lips parted like she was about to say something that would change everything again. And the air between us thickened with the same dangerous electricity that had started all of this. I woke up one morning with her still beside me, the sheets tangled around our legs like they were trying to hold us there. Her vanilla scent clung to the pillow, sweet and warm, mixing with the faint jasmine that always seemed to follow her. My wife's return date was circled on the calendar downstairs, only a few days away now. The weight in my chest pressed harder than the blanket ever could. Pleasure still hummed under my skin from the night before, but guilt crashed in like cold water, making it hard to breathe. Heart pounding slow and heavy. I've betrayed the person I love most in this world. Everything, yet a selfish part of me didn't want this to end. Not yet. Sarah's breathing was soft and even next to me, her hand resting lightly on my arm. That small touch sent the same forbidden spark through me, even as shame burned hotter. How did something that felt so alive turn into this ache that wouldn't let go? Later that afternoon she found me in the living room, light filtering through the curtains in quiet streaks. She suggested we stop before things got too complicated, her voice trembling just a little as she said it. Her eyes held mine, full of the same storm I felt inside. I nodded, telling myself I would end it cleanly when my wife came back. Pretend none of this ever happened. Go back to the way things were. But even as the words left my mouth, her fingers brushed mine on the couch, lingering with that quiet electricity. Secret glances kept pulling us back, small and stolen, making me question everything all over again. The pull remained stronger than any promise I made to myself. I have to choose. My marriage or this intoxicating escape that made the empty rooms feel full again. I don't know if I'm strong enough to walk away. Part of me wonders if confessing would break us beyond repair, or if silence would eat me alive every time I looked at my wife. The hunger didn't fade with the daylight. It only hid, waiting for the next moment her shoulder grazed mine or her laugh filled the quiet house. Nights grew heavier with unsaid words. I lay awake listening to the rain tap against the windows, remembering how her closeness had felt like drowning in the best way. Warm and overwhelming, pulling me under when I should have been fighting to stay afloat. Now the regret mixed with every memory, turning sweet into something sharper, like a thorn hidden in silk. I kept replaying the almost moments that led us here, the way gravity had drawn us together despite every warning in my head. This was never supposed to happen. She was my wife's best friend, staying under our roof because life threw us together in a moment of need. Yet here we were, tangled in something that felt inevitable and impossible all at once. The days blurred with that unresolved tension hanging between us like fog that never lifted. Do I tell my wife the truth and watch everything shatter? Or do I bury it deep and carry the secret like a stone in my pocket? Heavy but hidden? Sarah's presence still filled the house with that soft warmth, her scent drifting through rooms, reminding me how easy it had been to surrender. I told myself over and over that it had to stop, but my resolve cracked every time our eyes met across the table, or when her hand hovered near mine, not quite touching yet close enough to feel the heat. So tell me in the comments, what would you do in my situation? Would you have stopped it, or let it keep going? Be honest. If you want the raw, unfiltered continuation of what happened when my wife actually returned and whether I could really end it, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. The next part gets even more real. Thanks for listening to my confession.